Have you ever wondered what a wise elderly woman could teach us about love and intimacy in a relationship? Imagine how a simple conversation could completely transform your understanding of connection and deepen your bond with your partner in today's video. We will uncover the profound wisdom of a 72-year-old woman who shares timeless advice on strengthening love and intimacy. Stay with us until the end, as these insights could change the way you approach love and communication, helping you build a deeper, more meaningful connection with the one you love. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot. If you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Comment 1 below if you agree, or 0 if you have a different perspective. Your feedback helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now let's get started. Sophia's journey to find answers in a quiet village nestled between misty hills and winding rivers lived a woman whose wisdom had saved marriages and healed hearts. Grandma Amalia was known far and wide, not for magic, but for understanding the unspoken truths of love. Miles away, a woman named Sophia sat alone in her home, staring at the space between herself and her husband. The silence between them was deafening. There was no anger, no shouting, just an invisible wall that had formed over the years, built from unspoken words, unmet needs, and routines that had Sophia's journey. A wife's search for emotional connection replaced passion. She knew her husband loved her, and she loved him too. But something was missing. That spark, that effortless closeness they once had had, faded into the background, like a song she could no longer hear one evening, as Sophia watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. She felt deep in her heart, a memory surfaced. One she hadn't thought about in years. Her grandmother had once spoken of a woman, a mysterious elder in a faraway village, who understood love in a way few people did. If ever you find yourself lost in love, seek her wisdom, her grandmother had said. Sophia had dismissed the story back then, thinking love was simple. But now, sitting in the quiet of her home, feeling more alone than she ever had, she realized she needed answers. She needed guidance. So with nothing but hope and a longing to bring back the connection she so deeply missed, she packed her bags and set out on a journey to find Grandma Amalia. The road was long, winding through valleys and forests, but Sophia felt lighter with each step. There was a small part of her that feared this was foolish. What could an elderly woman in a remote village possibly tell her that she didn't already know? But there was a bigger part of her that clung to the hope that maybe, just maybe, there was something she hadn't seen before when she arrived at the small, ivy-covered cottage. She hesitated. The wooden door was slightly ajar, and the scent of herbs and aged books filled the air. The place had an old-world charm, as if time moved slower here. Taking a deep breath, Sophia stepped forward and knocked gently on the door. A moment later, the door creaked open, and there stood Grandma Amalia. She was older than Sophia had imagined, with silver stray hair loosely tied back and warm, knowing eyes that seemed to see right through her. She didn't speak right away. Instead, she studied Sophia for a moment before stepping aside and gesturing for her to come in. "You've come a long way," she finally said, her voice soft yet strong. "Sit, Grandma Amalia's wisdom. Love is a river, not a rock. Let's talk." Sophia stepped inside, feeling a strange sense of peace wash over her. The air smelled of lavender and wood smoke, and the crackling fire in the hearth cast a golden glow across the room. She settled into a chair, hands folded in her lap, suddenly unsure where to begin. Grandma Amalia poured 2 cups of tea and set one in front of Sophia. "Tell me, child," she said, "why have you come?" Sophia took a deep breath, staring down at the steaming cup in her hands. "I love my husband," she admitted, "but I feel disconnected. We share a life, but we don't really share ourselves anymore. I don't know how we got here, and I don't know how to fix it." Grandma Amalia nodded slowly, as if she had heard these words 1,000 times before. "Ah," she murmured, "you are not alone in this. Many couples find themselves in the same place, living side by side but feeling worlds apart." She leaned forward, resting her hands on the table. "Love does not fade on its own. Sophia, it is we who stopped tending to it, but the good news is just as love can be neglected, it can also be revived." Sophia felt a lump rise in her throat. How she whispered, "How do we bring it back?" Grandma Amalia smiled, a knowing look in her wise eyes. "We begin by understanding the difference between love and connection, because, my dear, love alone is never enough." Grandma Amalia's wisdom, the secrets of lasting intimacy, seated by a flickering fire. Grandma Amalia listened as Sophia poured out her heart. "I love my husband, but I feel invisible. We share a home, but not a connection. Why does love fade?" The old woman smiled knowingly. Her eyes filled with both understanding and experience, because most people mistake love for permanence. They believe that once it is found, it remains unchanged. But love isn't a rock, it's a river. It must keep moving, evolving, or else it dries up. Sophia exhaled slowly. Emotional connection. Before physical intimacy. The mistake most men make staring into the fire. "I thought love was enough, but now it feels like we've just become roommates." Grandma Amalia nodded. That happens when love is left unattended. A relationship needs more than just shared responsibilities and familiar faces. It needs intention. And that starts with understanding how intimacy truly works. Emotional and psychological connection before physical intimacy. Grandma Amalia leaned forward, her voice soft but firm. "Most men think intimacy is only physical, but a woman's desire starts in her mind, not in her body. If you don't connect with her emotionally, she won't open up physically." Sophia frowned, shifting in her chair. "But we talk every day." The elder shook her head. "Talking is not the same as connecting. A woman doesn't just want words, she wants to feel seen, heard and understood. Does he look into your eyes when you speak? Does he listen? Not just to respond, but to truly understand. Does he touch you in a way that reminds you he still adores you, or has it all become routine?" Sophia thought for a moment and realised the truth in Amalia's words. Her husband spoke to her, but when was the last time he truly listened? Their conversations had become about schedules and responsibilities. But when was the last time they talked about their dreams, their fears, or even their favourite memories? Grandma Amalia continued, "For a woman, intimacy is deeply tied to how she feels emotionally. If she feels distant, unheard, or unappreciated, she withdraws, not because she wants to, but because she no longer feels safe enough to be vulnerable." "So what should I do?" Sophia asked, desperation laced in her voice. Grandma Amalia smiled gently. "You start by reconnecting emotionally before you can reignite passion. You must first rebuild the bridge between your hearts, breaking free from routine. How to keep passion alive in long-term relationships." Grandma Amalia took a slow sip of tea before continuing. "Passion doesn't die, it gets buried under routine," she said. "Most couples don't fall out of love, they just. Why routine kills passion, how to keep love alive over time, stop showing it." Sophia sat forward intrigued. But how does something that once felt so exciting become dull? The elder smiled. Because they start treating love like a checklist instead of a living, breathing thing. At first, love is effortless, stolen kisses, long conversations, spontaneous gestures. But as time goes on, responsibilities take over, and the little things that once brought joy start to fade. She set her cup down and continued. There are two kinds of intimacy: duty-driven intimacy and desire-driven intimacy. Duty-driven intimacy is predictable, something you do because you feel you should desired. Driven intimacy is spontaneous, playful, and filled with curiosity. Sophia's brow furrowed so. Duty-driven intimacy feels like an obligation. Grandma Amalia nodded exactly. It's when a couple starts saying, "We should spend time together," instead of, "I can't wait to be with you." It's when physical intimacy becomes routine instead of an expression of passion. And let me tell you something, when a woman no longer feels desired, her heart begins to close. Sophia felt a knot form in her stomach. That's exactly how I feel. I know my husband loves me, but he doesn't look at me the way he used to. He doesn't touch me just because he wants to. It's almost like we've forgotten how to be excited about each other. Grandma Amalia reached for Sophia's hand. That excitement isn't gone. It's just hidden beneath the weight of the years to bring it back. You must start doing what you did when love was new. Sophia tilted her head. Like what? The elder chuckled softly, like teasing him playfully, laughing together over silly things touching him, just because sending him a message in the middle of the day to tell him you miss him. These small gestures remind your partner that they are still hidden mistakes. Men over 50. Making relationships desired. She leaned back and asked, "When was the last time your husband kissed you just because he wanted to?" Sophia's lips parted, but no words came. She couldn't remember the last time that had happened. Grandma Amelia's voice softened. "You see, my dear love doesn't fade because of time. It fades because we stop making each other feel special. But the beauty of love is that it can always be rekindled if both partners are willing. To tend to it." Sophia sat in silence, letting the words sink in for the first time in a long time. She felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope the hidden mistakes men over 50 make in relationships neglecting emotional foreplay. One of the biggest mistakes men make in long-term relationships is assuming that physical touch alone will spark intimacy. But for a woman, true intimacy begins long before that it starts in her mind. A woman needs to feel emotionally connected before she can fully engage physically without that connection. Intimacy can begin to feel like just another routine, something done out of obligation rather than desire. Men often don't realize that small, everyday interactions are the foundation of emotional foreplay. It's the way he looks at her, the way he listens when she speaks, and how he responds to her emotions. A quick "How was your day?" without really listening doesn't count. She needs to feel that her thoughts, feelings, and experiences matter to him. A deep conversation, a genuine compliment, or even just holding her gaze for a few extra seconds can make all the difference. Women don't want to just be touched. They want to be cherished. They want to feel like they are still the most intriguing and beautiful part of their partner's world. If a man neglects this emotional connection, physical intimacy will eventually fade no matter how much he desires it. Forgetting to make her feel special in the early days of a relationship, everything feels exciting flowers, just because love notes tucked into a bag, lingering hugs that say, "I see you and I love you." But over time, many men stop putting in that effort, not because they don't love their partners, but because they assume she already knows how they feel. But here's the truth. Love that isn't actively expressed starts to feel like it's fading. Women crave small, meaningful, how to make her feel truly seen, heard, and desired gestures that show they are still valued and desired. A simple touch on her back as you pass by, telling her she looks beautiful even on a regular day, or taking her hand while walking together. These little things matter. Love isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistent, thoughtful moments that remind her she's still the woman you fell in love with. The most dangerous assumption a man can make is believing that love is self. Sustaining love needs action. A woman who feels invisible will slowly start to withdraw, and once that emotional distance sets in, bringing back the connection becomes much harder. Don't let your partner become a background character in your life. Make her feel like the leading lady, not understanding women's psychological shifts after 50. As women grow older, their emotional and intimacy needs evolve. What once made them feel loved in their 20s or 30s might not be enough in their 50s. And beyond, many men fail to recognize this shift, leading to frustration and emotional disconnection. In her younger years, a woman might have been more patient with lack of emotional connection, but as she ages, she begins to crave deeper emotional security, meaningful companionship, and a sense of being truly understood. She wants more than just shared routines. She wants shared moments that feel fulfilling and intimate. At this stage in life, a woman values emotional depth over surface-level affection. She needs conversations that go beyond the basics of daily life. She wants to talk about dreams, fears, memories, and even the changes happening in her own body and emotions. If her partner fails to engage in these deeper conversations, she may start to feel like she's living with a stranger rather than a soulmate. Understanding these shifts is not about changing who you are, it's about paying attention, adapting and growing together. A relationship isn't just about loving the person she was, it's about continuing to love the person she's becoming. When a man truly understands this, he doesn't just keep his relationship alive, he deepens it in ways he never thought possible. Grandma Amelia's practical advice, how to revive a relationship, sitting across from Sophia, Grandma Amalia smiled warmly, sensing both the hope and hesitation in her eyes. Love doesn't disappear, my dear. It simply waits to be noticed again. She took a Grandma Amalia's practical advice. Reignite your relationship with these simple acts. Slow sip of her tea before continuing. If you want to revive your relationship, you don't need to make grand gestures or change who you are. You just need to start paying attention in a way that makes her feel cherished. Reignite emotional connection. When was the last time you really asked her how she was feeling? Grandma Amalia asked Sophia. Thought about it, realizing that most of their conversations were about errands, bills and schedules. A woman needs to feel emotionally connected before she can fully open her heart. Grandma Amalia continued, ask about her dreams, her worries, her joys, things beyond the daily routine, and when she speaks, listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Men often underestimate how powerful genuine curiosity is. When a woman feels heard, she feels loved. Put down the phone, turn off the TV, and give her your undivided attention. Those small moments of presence build trust and deepen emotional intimacy. Speak her love language. Love isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Grandma Amalia explained. Some women feel loved when they hear words of affirmation. Some need physical touch. Others feel it when you spend quality time together. The secret is knowing what makes her heart respond. Sophia nodded. She had read about love languages before, but she never thought of applying them in a deeper way. The problem isn't that love fades. It's that we stop expressing it in the way our partner understands. If your partner needs words of affirmation, tell her she's beautiful, not just on special occasions, but on an ordinary Tuesday morning. If she thrives on physical touch, don't just hold her hand when you want something. Reach for her just to remind her you're there. Love is in the details. Surprise her with small acts of love. Love isn't kept alive through routine alone. It needs spontaneity. Grandma Amalia said, do something unexpected. A handwritten letter left on her pillow, a spontaneous weekend getaway. A simple compliment whispered in her ear when she least expects it. Many men believe that once they've been with a woman for years, they no longer need to impress her. But women never stop wanting to feel desired. The happiest couples aren't the emotional transformation. From loneliness to intimacy. Ones who never have problems. Grandma Amalia said, they're the ones who never stop making each other feel special. She leaned in with a soft chuckle. Love is a dance, Sophia. And it's never too late to learn new steps. The emotional transformation. Sophia left the cottage with a newfound understanding of love and intimacy. She no longer saw love as something that faded with time, but as something that required effort, attention, and care. When she returned home, she didn't wait for her husband to change. She became the change, and slowly, like embers rekindling into flames, their love began to glow again